Be it unexpected encounters or catching a living jackpot, cameras are the best way when it comes to capturing rare and unbelievable moments. Here are some of those incredible things caught on camera that you should watch yourself rather than taking someone's word for it. Fish inside shark's mouth. This diver had no idea what he was about to capture while diving deep into the ocean. This is exactly what happens when you bite off more than you can chew. Biggest ever whale shark. When it comes to whale sharks, you often can't tell which one of them is bigger until you compare. In November of 2011, a group of explorers in scuba diving gear at the island of Darwin, Galapagos, came across this whale shark that was big enough to make them all look like tiny fishes around it. Soon after spotting the marine animal, the divers started taking pictures and recording this one in a lifetime moment as it casually moved past them. It is believed to be at least 20 meters in length. Dolphin pushes paddleboarder. This dolphin actually made its life's purpose to make the paddleboarders fail to an extent that he rethinks his life choices carefully next time. A long-distance cameraman who happened to be Johnny on the spot captured this footage in April 2018, showing a pod of racing dolphins who, after having tasted the bad experience of running into humans, decided to make this paddleboarder that seemed to be perfectly sailing to fail. The dolphin jumped out of the water and turned its back around, body-butting him instead of head-butting him into the water before landing back in the water and making its way to the finish line. Fish in whale jaws. Either this whale is displaying unusual behavior of offering a ride in its mouth, or that it got carried away in midst of a hunt. Beachgoers in Thailand found this beached whale on the shore that was still alive, but had something within its mouth, which when the onlookers cautiously investigated, found it to be a fish. With the whale beached and the fish out of the water, both were on the verge of losing their lives until boaters in the area stepped in to help. They tied a strong cord around the tail of the whale before pulling it towards the water. White manta ray. The odds of finding a ray with a size as this is just as rare as the pristine water around it. A tourist guide, along with a boatload of his clients, got to see this enormous white manta ray off the coast of Raja Ampat Archipelago, Indonesia, while out on a boating trip. The footage was captured as the ray was easily visible as it was swimming through pristine water close to the surface. It could be seen swimming in circles while slamming the water with its huge fins. Since the sighting of these insanely sized rays is extremely rare, this tour sure seems to have given everyone a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Battle with unexpected turn. As a battle between an amateur octopus that wanted to feast upon a crab erupted, it ended with an unexpected turn of events when the very predator became prey as a seal appeared out of nowhere and started munching on it. The crab for sure got the last laugh. 9-foot sturgeon. Having to reel in something this enormous all alone using a fishing rod certainly makes the catch quite a big deal. On May 3rd, 2023, Jeremy Wade, who is the host of a wildlife documentary program, managed to capture what is believed to be one of the biggest sturgeon ever to be caught in a river between the border of Oregon and Washington state. After 30 minutes of arduous pulling, he managed to surface a sturgeon, which was measured to be almost 9 feet in length and weighed about 300 pounds. He reported that sturgeonfish can grow as long as 20 feet, which is big enough for it to be considered a true lake monster. Long electric eel. Not everything that moves in water is safe to touch, as the experience would be shocking unless done with precautions. This really long electric eel was discovered in a wet mud of cattle pasture. The host of the video decided to catch the eel to examine and measure it closely. But before that, he puts on rubber gloves and shoes. This slimy, long creature is a one-of-a-kind marine animal that uses 650 volts of electric shock, which is a defense mechanism that can stop a beating heart in seconds. If not, just send a much bigger predator than itself running, just like that dog. Deceased whale buried. As magnificent as these whales are, their size can equally be burdensome when a deceased carcass washes ashore. This huge whale, hours after getting stranded on a beach in Aceh, Indonesia, passed away, creating a widespread call for its burial by the residents of a nearby village of Ujung Karang. Due to the enormous size of the whale, the government called in a construction crew, along with an excavator, to dig a pit deep enough for the whale, that was then lifted up and placed into the dig site by the excavator before being buried. Zombie salmon. You might be under the impression that it starts to eat its own kind when it's moving while in a decaying state. A recording taken from under the Gold Stream River in November 2017 shows a huge pod of salmon that are covered in fungus and look quite gruesome. All this happens after the salmon take up the challenge of making their way upstream to reach their spawning grounds. By battling the water currents, using their bodies and tail to dig in gravels sustains them with bruises until they deplete all their energy, which results in shutting down of their body. As a result, their carcasses start to rot while being alive, until gradually they pass away. Whale riding. If someone like Tarzan existed in real life, this guy would be its aquatic version. Sam Sinsteline, who was out boating off the coast of California, noticed a humpback whale that was in distress, having a fishing line stuck onto its back. For hours, they attempted to cut the rope to break it free. But then, Sam decided to go up and beyond by jumping onto the whale's back and cutting the line after fighting against the diving and thrashing of the whale. At a certain point, he even got to ride a whale while breaking it free, which made him seem like a whale whisperer. Catching great white shark. For all the first-timers on the beach and fishing in general, you'd never think that you can catch a shark while on the beach. A band of seasoned fishermen decided to show off their skill set at Pensacola Beach in Florida by making a huge catch while remaining on the beach. In doing so, they deployed huge fishing rods capable of reaching dozens of meters away from the shore towards the ocean. Within no less than 30 minutes of hooking the bait, they managed to pull out a 13-foot great white shark from the water, all by team effort. Giant grouper close shave. The only difference between a great white and a giant Goliath grouper such as this is that one of them isn't as aggressive to humans as the other can be. Jeremy once again manages to surface and examine a giant grouper that's almost 300 pounds in weight and 6 feet in length. Amazingly, it shows resistance much less than originally anticipated. The giant fish is known to be one of the most vicious predators of the seas, but doesn't have the killer instinct to attack a human on the surface. The giant predator is released after numerous other hooks and lines are removed from its back, showing the battles it fought and survived. Pacific octopus hanging out. Unlike most cases, it almost seems like this octopus was willingly hanging out and enjoying the company of its human buddies to an extent that it didn't want to leave. While out sport fishing off the coast of California, a group of young men found this octopus, who, after coming aboard their vessel, was crawling around the boat with a calm composure, as if it were having a blast, before it decided to make a casual exit. Crawling through bullfighting arena. If the idea of being struck by a bull wasn't scary enough, imagine one where you stand a chance of being trampled by one. This footage was taken from May 2018, showing a group of athletes who decided to go on a crawling race by splitting into 2 teams and gradually reaching the exit in presence of a bull in the arena. Depending on the direction of the bull facing, they kneel or halt in 2 parallel lines as they race each other across the stadium. Jungle whale. For something like this, the only possible explanation is that someone had it slingshot from the sea. A clip captured by locals on the island of Marajo off the Araruna Beach, Brazil from February 2019 shows an 11-meter-long humpback whale carcass that was found in the middle of a forest nearby a sea. As the footage and discovery reached public knowledge, many started to draw conspiracy theories. but according to scientists, the whale expired at sea and its carcass got washed away due to strong winds and high tides.
Muito grande. Nossa equipe da secretaria.
After some inspections, the whale was found to be a 12-month-old calf and had no serious injury. Insane biology of sunfish. The sunfish are the heaviest bony fish in the world, weighing up to 3,000 kilograms and up to 3 meters in length. They have a distinct disc-shaped body and a tail that is laterally compressed with their dorsal and anal fins that are elongated, resembling a pair of wings. They have leathery skin with up to 40 species of parasites attached onto them. In hopes to remove these parasites, they lay sideways for the gulls to remove them. Huge, strange bird. Although it seems to behave in a way that it's not sorry for doing its homework, it's more so disappointed about being caught. A recording taken in January 2018 shows a huge carnivore-type bird that was caught by residents from a small village in Uttar Pradesh, India. Many called it to be a giant eagle or a falcon of some kind, due to the resembling features. The bird was kept tied in chains until the forest department stepped in to take custody of the bird, along with identifying it. Baby kangaroo dropped. This is the reason why you should remain with fastened seatbelts until the ride comes to a complete halt. A dash camera of a biker somewhere in southwestern Australia, upon passing by a group of fleeing kangaroos, noticed while on his bike one of the mama kangaroos who unknowingly dropped her baby from the pouch. With its mama long gone, the biker decided to adopt the little one as a pet and raise it till it's old enough to be released back into the wild. Considering its situation, leaving it on its own wouldn't be something anyone would want to have on their conscience. Fist fight with kangaroo. On May 27, 2021, a party of hunters decided to go out with their dogs for a catch when one of the dogs inadvertently collided with an extremely large kangaroo that appeared out of nowhere. It kidnapped one of the dogs and didn't seem to want to let it go anytime soon. Fortunately for the dog, its owner was a big guy who stood in front of the huge kangaroo to save his pup. He initially gave the kangaroo some space to lessen the tension, but when it went too close, the guy was obliged to punch it, confusing the kangaroo. The dog owner disengaged and stood back during the process. Influencers running for life. This is perhaps the only way to convince all those TikTok influencers to actually be concerned for something far more than just their content. Footage taken in May 2022 somewhere in Nepal shows a moment where a large gathering of TikTok and social media influencers were sent running when a massive landslide started to come down the mountain towards them. While most people were running away from the landslide, some of them came very close to film the event for social media. Fortunately, they were able to run away and evacuate just in time. In moments like these, luck is often a great privilege. Pulled by shark. Although most sharks deal harm due to an appetite, this one rather needed some company. This video was recorded in Tampa Bay, Florida, where a shark randomly appeared and pulled a man that was fishing into the water after he thought that something took his bait. Immediately after falling into the water, the man, assisted by his buddies, managed to get out before the shark could circle back and get any ideas. Had this been an alligator, this certainly could have ended far worse.
Get him!
Underwater rescue. This is probably as far as Finding Nemo can get in real life. A footage taken in March 2016 by a group of divers after they spotted a fish that was trapped in a net, but were left shocked to see his friend who, despite being free, didn't leave his side, even when they came for the rescue. Once the trapped fish was freed, they both swam away together. After all, only a true friend would stick around when in trouble. Shark swimming upside down. Either it's opposite day, or this shark actually took the meaning of trying something new a bit too seriously. A recording made by fishermen in an unknown location shows a moment where a great white shark, before and after lunging onto a huge bait, starts to swim in an upside-down fashion for unknown reasons. Considering the serious facial glamour and body language of the great white sharks, it certainly wasn't doing it for the delight of the onlookers, or to thank them for the quick meal. But hey, you never know. Hiding octopus. For an octopus to be sneaking around like that, it's either playing hide and seek or it's a fugitive on the run. A video taken by researchers in December 2009 shows an octopus that was running away from a diver using only 2 of its tentacles in a way as if it were running before it took cover in a nearby hole. Moments later, Australian scientists who were monitoring the descending of the kraken were surprised to find it carrying coconut shells for shelter and improvised portable armor. The incident left them wondering that they may have underestimated the intelligence of the octopuses, as it displayed the first ever case of an invertebrate using tools. Octopus steals tripod. To put it plainly, this octopus, while growing up, didn't expect to deal with paparazzi that started to surveil every dirty facet of its life until it decided to banish itself under a refuge after choosing to seize an identical-looking piece of equipment called the tripod. While the octopus held its end of the tripod, the diver started to rip off the tentacles off the tripod while making it hide deeper down the burrowed hole after being disgusted by the insolence of its curious visitors. Having to choose a tripod instead of a camera wasn't just a way to get back at the divers, but a question of loyalty to its kind. Angelfish yawning. Clearly this fish is not feeding or attacking a prey, nor is it choking on some cheap sushi. But what else could be the reason? A crew of the diving team from Tenerife Diving Academy during a night dive in the Canary Islands found this young angel shark, which they initially believed to be in some kind of distress, until one of the experts, upon seeing its calmed body posture, reported that it was actually yawning. The shark even stretches its body backwards while it yawns and exposes its teeth in the process. Since these sharks are on the critically endangered list, they are one of the species that is most protected. Hammerhead instant birth. A man somewhere on a Florida beach decided to go on a fishing spree to an extent that he broke a soon-to-be happy family by reeling a pregnant shark that was in labor and was taken out with no advance foreclosure notice. The result? Well, she littered all over the beach with her young and caught most of the curious stalkers on the beach in surprise. Angel shark attacked diver. After having taunted the diver by its unruly behavior of displaying teeth, the angel shark sparked the very curiosity of the diver that it later used as the justification to bite him on his back. An episode of the very much adored angel shark was caught on camera at the Tenerife Diving Academy, showing it to have literally buried itself in sand to avoid all its life problems, moments before it lost its temper to a diver that stepped into its personal space. At this point, it started to throw temper tantrums all around the divers before disappearing into the abyss with its emotional and predatory shenanigans. A living mammoth. If you have ever wondered how mammoths would have looked walking the earth back in their time, this is probably the closest that you're gonna get. Rambo is a gigantic elephant that resides in Khluwe Game Refuge in South Africa. Although it belongs to African elephant species, it has a physique much bigger than its peers, not to mention the size of its tusks. Now, as big as its tusks are, it faces a high risk of danger from animal poachers and is protected 24/7 along with the caregivers that are diligent and dedicated to this and every other animal. Mega bat. After Batman, this is probably the biggest bat ever to be seen on the internet. In August 2010, this megabat, along with a few of its kind, were sighted and recorded in an Indonesian coffee plantation. The megabat was attempting to take refuge out in the open while dangling from a narrow, leafless branch of a plant, presumably after getting stranded and caught up in daylight. Despite the size and their intimidating appearance, the plantation workers were attempting to feed them with fruits while curiously watching from close distance. Whether dangerous or not, their sudden change of behavior led to this unique sighting, which could be harmful for its kind.
The other one's like, what are you doing? Show up.
Exorbitantly massive anaconda. With the Amazon rainforest housing an incredible biodiversity, going out here for an adventure can prove to be quite dangerous. Max Whitty, who was a resident naturalist, recorded this footage of an exorbitantly massive anaconda that he found while passing through the forest. The true Amazonian monster that was estimated to be 5 meters in length was lying in a tiny stream, waiting to ambush any potential prey that crossed paths with it. These green anaconda are solitary ambush predators that use water to conceal themselves and attack anything that comes for a drink before constricting, suffocating, and crushing them to swallow whole. Obese bear. From being depressed to losing track of the meals taken, the cause of this bear gaining weight remains a total mystery. An Asiatic black bear named Dylan was found in a terrible condition at a small enclosure at the Union County Sportsman's Club in Pennsylvania. Aside from being immobile due to the weight, Dylan was declawed, had bad teeth with infected gums, and was subjected to continuous sound of gunfire being about 200 feet away from a shooting range. The bear is believed to have been stuck in the cage with little or no care for several years, if not decades, until it was moved to another animal caring sanctuary in Colorado. Huge, wide anaconda. Most anacondas are known to be sneaky, but this one was big enough to be spotted from far away. This anaconda was so huge that a helicopter pilot was able to spot it swimming in the Amazon River. And as it was getting nearer populated areas, the pilot notified the government authorities before these expert anaconda catchers were dispatched to capture it. The anaconda was measured to be over 10 meters in length and weighed over 1,000 pounds, so much so that heavy-duty vehicles were used to lift it onto a semi-trailer truck. The fate of the anaconda, however, remains a mystery. Before we move any further, like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon so you can keep watching our amazing content. Rare Humboldt squid. By seeing the anatomy of a Humboldt squid, you might get the impression that they look defenseless, when in fact, they have a set of teeth that can deliver an unforgiving bite. Jeremy attempts to capture a Humboldt squid to verify wound markings that a group of scuba divers sustained around the coast of Mexico. Upon pulling one of the squids out of the water, he closely inspects the mouth area of the squid in between its tentacles, verifying his theory. Interestingly, Jeremy experiences another myth of these squids attacking their own kind by rising from the depths to feed on a fellow squid that's in distress. Rare giant catfish. The size and the rarity of this fish is what makes this fish off the reservation for fishing. In November 2015, fishermen found and caught a huge Mekong catfish in Mekong River in Phnom Penh, Cambodia. Since these fish are critically endangered, it was to be released back into the river after it was inspected and measured to be over 2 meters long, with a weight estimation of 200 pounds.
Over 2 meters long, 6.5, 7 feet long.
According to aquatic ecologist Zeb Hogan, this Mekong catfish was the biggest ever of its kind that he had seen for over the period of more than 5 years. Giant Watusi. Even on a leash, this animal would create uncontrollable havoc if it were to go berserk. As a Petco store in Texas advertises an all-leashed pets welcome policy in March 2019, a Texas man brought a huge Watusi with gigantic horns that was leashed. As big as the horns were, they easily passed through the entrance, surprising every other pet owner while vilifying the popular saying of everything's bigger in Texas. Intimidated by the size of the horns, most onlookers at first hesitated in coming closer, but eventually started petting the animal. One could only imagine the horror someone is dressed in red and that this animal holds a grudge against it.
He's going in Petco.
Whale watchers encounter whale. When it comes down to the size of the whale, it is greatly downsized in a video such as this. A team of whale watchers in August 2022 got to see a whale belonging to the species that are the largest animals in the world up close as it swam underneath their boat. Judging from even a rough estimation, this blue whale is believed to be nearly 30 meters long, which left the onlookers fascinated. Typically, blue whales rarely behave in such a friendly manner. Giant underwater turtle. If you fancy the presence of a regular sea turtle, you'd be fascinated to come across an underwater turtle much bigger than any human. During a scuba diving tour by the island of Cozumel, some lucky tourists got to see this giant loggerhead sea turtle that was feeding and grazing on aquatic plants on the seafloor. Despite being surrounded by several divers, there was no change in behavior of the turtle as it casually passed by them. A turtle this size is believed to weigh a little over 300 pounds. With such encounters occurring rarely, it greatly impacts the touring trip. Man dances on whale. Strange choice of a dance floor, not to mention all the dangers that pertain with a deceased whale. This recording of an unknown man dancing on top of a whale carcass started to get widespread attention after it was uploaded anonymously. Dancing or performing any stunt on a floating whale can be dangerous, as it not only attracts aggressive predators like the great white shark that feasts on it, but also that the massive carcass tends to get bloated with all the gases that get caught up within the body. The sheer pressure of these gases can result in an explosion that could be fatal to anyone on or around the whale. Eels feeding time. With these eels not having a shocking reminder attached to themselves for protection, their numbers are fast declining, calling for the protection of the species. Matt Paku is an animal lover and enthusiast who has built a reserve in a stream to protect the longfin eel species, who, in this footage, is seen feeding them with chicken and baitfish. After having fed the eels several times, he has also managed to build a unique type of bond with them. Despite the bonding, Matt still practices caution, as the eels are wild predators in nature and can instinctively attack if given a chance. Huge, floating jellyfish. Whatever the cause of this jellyfish passing away may be, these fishermen certainly didn't seem to bother. This recording was uploaded by an unknown group of fishermen who, upon spotting this huge jellyfish, started to dissect it while it was still in open water. With them having all the necessary gear, starting from the rubber gloves to a wooden spear, they managed to cut the large jellyfish into pieces due to the rarity of its appearance, presumably to sell at a premium rate. 4-foot American eel. The first person who first discovered the washing ashore of this lengthy eel took it to be some type of elongated snake-like fish. This lengthy American eel was found washed ashore on a beach by the Mustang Island in Texas. While the beach officials were to remove the carcass of the eel, a reserve director from the University of Texas Marine Science Institute took custody of the eel, which is now rarely seen and has been listed as an endangered species. The widespread construction of dams in most of the rivers around its habitat is the leading cause for the population of this eel species to be on the brink of extinction. This picture was taken on March 31st, 2015, showing a woman who, along with her husband, was able to catch a gigantic stingray that was lurking around in shallow waters on a beach in South Australia. After the couple who managed to catch this massive stingray using an average fishing rod, using an Australian salmon rigged onto it as bait. As the giant stingray took the bait, onlookers stepped in to assist them in reeling in the huge catch. After an hour-and-a-half-long struggle between the two, the massive stingray was pulled onto the beach and is believed to weigh more than 150 kilograms. Due to the mating season, the stingray was later released back into the ocean. Thank you very much for watching this video. Do like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to not miss any of the upcoming amazing videos. Thank you once again.